Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you some more book recommendations, and this time I want to talk about fantasy books written by authors with disabilities. Now, for this video, I'm going to take a very broad frame of disability to talk about some authors. Disability is a social construct, so some things that might be disabilities, we might not consider it socially anymore. For example, if people don't see very well, we usually don't consider it a disability if they just have to wear glasses. And then for other things, we do consider that a disability in our society. So I'm taking a very broad approach here. You can look these authors up if you're interested to learn more. The whole point of this little video series is just to make you consider, diversifying your fantasy reading a little bit. And I hope with these recommendations, I can help you. Now, the first author is one of my favorite authors. I have read almost all of their works by now, and that is Leigh Bardugo. And I absolutely love Leigh Bardugo books. I don't know why, but just like the essence of the books speaks to my soul. So for Leigh Bardugo, we obviously have the Creatureverse if you want to get into a very broad fantasy world with like different kind of countries that you can explore. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I did not enjoy the first Grisha trilogy. However, I loved the Six of Crows duology and the Nicola duology. This is like top tier fantasy for me. Apart from the Creatureverse, you also have the Familiar, which I enjoyed. It was a very moody kind of book. And then you also have the Alex Stern books that is more kind of like dark academia demon kind of stuff. And I have only read Ninth House so far, but I definitely want to finish up this trilogy soon. The way my cat just walked past me and managed to swish a cat hair right into my eyeball, I swear sabotaging my videos is her favorite pastime. But we are back and I can see again. Very fitting for this video, I guess. So let's talk about the next author. And that would be Jo Walton. Now, when I made this list, I had only read Tooth and Claw by Jo Walton. This is Pride and Prejudice, but all the characters are dragons. This is a book that took over my complete personality while I was reading it. I will link the reading vlog down below because it was just an experience. Like, I can't even describe it, but it is a phenomenal standalone. But if you want to try a series by Jo Walton, I also recently read The Just City. So far, I have not read the sequels, but that is now in the works. And I love that book. This is philosophical fantasy where the goddess Athena is trying to build the just city based on Plato's Republic, and stuff is going on. That book also had so many content warnings, so make sure you go in kind of informed, but yeah, it was a wild ride, and I don't know how Jo Walton writes her books, but it is like connecting with all the brain cells in my brain. Sticking to the like fantasy staple authors, we have Susanna Clarke. Now, I have read both Piranesi and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I personally enjoyed Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell so much more, but both of these books are great in their own right. Now, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell feels more fairy tale-esque. We have this historical academic setting where a very intelligent and well-educated man, Mr. Norrell, decides to try to bring back magic to the UK, and it is set in the 1800s, around the time of the wars with Napoleon. And so, yeah, we have like a lot going on. There is fae stuff in there, and I always feel like this is a book that J.R.R. Tolkien would have loved. Probably. I don't know why. That's just my hypothesis. Piranesi, very different. We follow a character who lives in this endless palace with rooms and rooms and rooms, and he doesn't really know where he is or why he is there. And there's only one other person in this house, and that is the other. And we're kind of trying to figure out where Piranesi is and what happened to him. Next, we have Octavia E. Butler. Now, I personally have only read Kindred, but it is one of my favorite books. And Octavia E. Butler has written ton of books, some of them in series, some standalones. So I would highly recommend you go and see, because they're all so different. Like, there's vampire books, there is more like historical sci-fi like Kindred. And in Kindred, we follow a Black woman in the 60s who suddenly gets transported through time to save this white boy. And she realizes that she's now in a time when slavery still existed. And it is connected to her family history. Again, this one definitely some content warnings. This is not a light, easy read, but I think it is such an inspiring take on the whole like time travel idea. And I just love the main character in Kindred, just phenomenal. Next up, we have another favorite author of mine, and that is Libba Bray. Libba Bray is an interesting author because, again, she has like very different kinds of books. Now, I have personally read the Diviners series as well as Beauty Queens, and Beauty Queens is such a fun book that I need to talk about it more. Now, this is basically a Lord of the Flies retelling where we have a plane, I think, of like, you know, beauty queen contestants that has to land on this isolated island, and then they have to survive. It's so fun, and the best thing about this book is that the audiobook is also narrated by Libba Bray herself. So highly, highly recommend. I love that book so much. It's so fun and funny, and the summertime is the best time to read this one. With the Diviner series, very different tone. This is more dark, mysterious, a little bit horror. Both of these are YA, but I think Libba Bray has also written an adult book now that I haven't read yet. And in the Diviners, we follow characters who have special abilities. And our main character, I think when she touches things, she knows stuff about those things. So there's a lot going on. I feel like the first two books are more contained, like their stories kind of feel very complete. And then the third and the fourth book like really opens up the series and completes it. Next up, we have Jessica Townsend. Now, I decided to include Jessica Townsend because I think she has long COVID. Now this, you know, can all be a little bit debated, but I decided to put her on the list as well. And obviously her famous books is the Nevermoor series about this girl called Morrigan Crow who gets to go to the magical world of Nevermoor to compete in these trials for this magical academy situation. But this series is about so much more. I love these books so much, and I just recently reread them all in January and it was fantastic. Then, speaking about a little bit of horror, I wanted to include Chuck Tingle as well. So far I have only read one Chuck Tingle book, Camp Damascus. In this one we are following a young woman who is growing up in a very religious household, but she starts to have feelings for girls. And it is also about this conversion therapy camp. So this girl starts to see some concerning things whenever she has certain feelings, and it's all about what happened to her. I desperately need to read the other Chuck Tingle horror books because they all sound so good to me and they're all very queer as well. Last but not least, I wanted to recommend a short story collection because that can be a very fun way to discover new authors, and that one is called Unbroken. Now, I have read this many, many, many years ago, so I don't really remember each individual story and how much fantasy stories there were. But I'm pretty sure that this had a very wide range of kind of genre fiction. It is, I think, all YA, but I really loved these stories in this collection. I think it's definitely one of the better ones that I have read. And as I said, it's a fun way to discover more authors that are disabled. So that concludes my recommendations, but right here at the end, I just wanted to quickly snuck in some wishlist authors as well. The first one, in no particular order, would be Kelly Andrew. This is the author of The Whispering Dark, where we have a deaf main character, I believe, and I think that is very interesting for kind of a darker fantasy. I think it's a YA story. Then we have Emily Lloyd-James, the author of The Bone Houses, and that is a book that has been on my wishlist for way too long, and I feel like I should really just read it. Then we have Nnedi Okorafor. Now, honestly, the length of time that this author's books have been on my wishlist is ridiculous, and I just really need to start reading them and not just add more to the wishlist. And last but not least, we have Nicola Griffith and the book Spear, which I have been eyeing for a long time. I think this is also on the shorter side, so I have even less reasons to say that I still haven't read this one. So I hope this was an interesting list for you. I hope you found something to check out, like a book to try to read. I think all of these are fantastic places to start reading more diversely if so far you feel like your fantasy reading maybe has gone a little bit stale. And yeah, let me know if you have any recommendations. Obviously, I'm always looking for more. We know that the wishlist can never be too long. So I would love to hear from you, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!